Hey everybody, Tekking back again. Before we get into the video today, I just wanted to sing you guys a little bit of a song, a little bit of a doodad that I wrote last night all about the jacket, okay? Oh, my jacket! Oh, what is that on the horizon? Guys, I see a ship in the distance. I can't really make out the Jolly Roger. Oh, here it comes. Do 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 do. Okay, it's the Going Merry, ladies and gentlemen, in all of its splendor. It's marvelous. I built it on a stream a couple of days ago. Go check it out. Yeah. And now, for entirely zero reason, I will take this lit candle that I just happen to have next to me at all times and precariously place it right next to the Mary to truly illuminate her awesomeness. It's also a lemon-scented candle, so it smells really lemony down here. Okay, so let's talk about, that actually does connect back to something else. Let's talk about the man marked by flames. All right, last chapter, chapter 1056, we had a lot of new information dropped on us, but one of the most important pieces of information, I would say the most crucial, is that at the end of the chapter, after Law passes on Kaido's Road Poneglyph etching to Kid and Killer, they look at the etching, and then they mention that, like, they're one step closer for the One Piece. This is going to be an all-out scramble for the greatest treasure in the entire world, and Kid and Killer both mention, we need to track down the man that's marked by flames, because whoever that individual is has an answer that they've been looking for, something. Now, I originally assumed the person in question could read poneglyphs, okay? Now, that's a possibility, that's a very strong possibility, but I also considered something else. I just realized the man marked by flames might not be able to read poneglyphs, but might have access to the fourth one. Okay, because those are the two big things that, like, if you need to find the One Piece and you're looking for road poneglyphs, well, you're going to need somebody that can decipher them, step one, and then you're going to also need to find the fourth one, which is just missing. No one knows where it is, right? The first one is on Zou. The other two were very well known to be in the hands of Yonko, Big Mom, and Kaido, who are no longer Yonko, so they got those ones taken care of, okay? I still like to think the man marked by flames, though, does have the ability to read poneglyphs. Also, it could be both. You know, he could read poneglyphs and he could have the fourth one. You know, they're not mutually exclusive, okay? And this does, before we start talking about possibilities of who it could be, I just wanted to bring up that this does address an issue that I've sort of had for a while now. It's not really an issue because reading poneglyphs is such a rare thing. You know, everybody on Ohara, like the scholars of Ohara, could have done it, but then they were wiped out by the government, okay? And so now the only person that we know of in the present storyline that canonically is confirmed to be able to read poneglyphs, well, I guess there's two people now, would be Nico Robin, because she was a survivor of Ohara, and she learned how to read poneglyphs there, and then Kozuki Sukiyake, or Tenguyama Hitetsu, who's a member of the Kozuki clan, who's Odin's father, who was revealed to still be alive. We just found that out recently. So for the majority of this series, Robin was the only person. Now we have two people that can read poneglyphs, right? That's awesome, except Sukiyake has no interest in going out to sea and traveling with the rest of the, you know, the pirates or whatever. That'd be funny if, like, Kid just breaks into the castle and just kidnaps Sukiyake. And he's like, wait, what are you doing? Put me back. It's like, shut up, old man. We need you to find the One Piece. Oh, you kids these days. It's like literally, you kid these days. I'm like, I know, because it's Kid. All right, there we go. Anyway, that would be pretty funny. The Kid pirates breaking into the castle to kidnap an old man. There's some inherent comedy there. You know, why do you think William just slaughters a bunch of old people in One Piece D&D? It's for the laughs, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think Sukiyaki's just going to stay in Wano, and I don't think even, like, Kid even knows about, you know, his existence, because he revealed who he was to Robin and Law, and then the Scabbards, Momonosuke, and Hiyori, but I don't think they're going to tell anybody else, like, who he is, okay? Because also, the more people that know that Sukiyaki is alive, probably the more dangerous it's going to be for Sukiyaki. And the man is old, ladies and gentlemen. He's like 88 years old. He's lived through a lot of shit in his life, you know? Just let the man retire, okay? So beyond that, though, we also have Pudding, who, you know, doesn't have the ability to read poneglyphs quite yet, but she's a descendant of the Third Eye tribe. She's half Third Eye tribe member because Big Mom is human. That's hard to remember sometimes, but no, she is human. So one of her husbands was a, you know, member of the Third Eye tribe, and then that was Pudding's father, okay? Now, I would love the Third Eye tribe to get more establishment or whatever, so the man marked by flames may be very well a full-fledged member of the tribe that just happens to have a scar. Also, it's important to mention, it might not be a scar, because the way that it was phrased, it could be indicating an actual scar, like marked by flames, like Zuko from Avatar, you know, where his face is actually burned by fire. Or it could indicate just a mark that resembles, like, literally a flame. So it could be the person has a tattoo that looks like a flame, or it could just be a birthmark that looks like a flame. Doesn't necessarily have to be an actual flame scar, but it could be, okay? We just don't know yet. So, I found it interesting. The thing that was weird to me was like, okay, all these pirates are looking all over the world to try to decipher these poneglyphs. Like, you know, Big Mom and Kaido, they're all looking for a way to figure out a way to decipher these poneglyphs. I'm thinking there's gotta be someone else on the planet, even if it's only one other person. There's gotta be someone out there that can read and decipher poneglyphs beyond Robin, okay, and beyond Sukiyake, okay? The Third Eye tribe, it seems to indicate maybe they don't have the ability to read, like they haven't like studied the glyphs personally. Like Robin knows how to read them because the scholars of Ohara studied the glyphs and they deciphered them, and so it's like a really hard cipher to crack or whatever, and Robin was just able to learn that, okay? The Third Eye tribe, I get the indication that just using their third eye, it's sort of like kind of the voices of all things, sort of like seeing beyond or seeing what the text like indicates or what it means, without actually like, you know, knowledge, like reading about it, like, you know, this glyph means the letter A and this glyph means this. It's more of just like, you know, open my third eye, boom, and then they can like decipher anything. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be just poneglyphs. It could be any foreign language, anything. They can just automatically decipher it, okay? Kind of something like in Doctor Who with the TARDIS, you know, no matter what time frame or what alien world you visit, the TARDIS like translates the text in front of you, kind of something like that, right? That's the way I view the Third Eye tribe. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense, though, that there would be somebody on the Grand Line. I like to think this person, whoever they are, wherever they are, maybe makes it known they're not pirates, they're not revolutionaries, they're not Marines, or at least they're not right now. I like to think they're just a civilian that just travels the sea and just, you know, rumors about them spread. Like there's a person that's like an old man marked by flames that lives up on that old log cabin in the woods, and rumor has it he can read poneglyphs, and then he moves around all the time because obviously somebody like this, like very much like Robin, could not stay in one place for very long before the world government finds out about them and then sends the Marines to go bring them in or murder them, okay? Because obviously anybody on the planet that can read poneglyphs, very, very highly dangerous and definitely high up on the government's hit list, okay? So, person probably travels all over the Grand Line, and it's sort of like really hard to find this person, and as Kid even stated, like we have no leads on where this person is, but they heard a rumor somewhere, okay? And I believe Law heard the same rumors. Now, Luffy and the Straw Hats did not, because Luffy had no idea what they were talking about. Even Robin sort of had like the question mark, like, who are you talking about? Law, on the other hand, his reaction was a big clue, I think, because Law's reaction when Kid mentioned the man marked by flames, Law's, you know, like we saw the shadow over the bill of his hat and, you know, the brim of his hat. The bill of his hat or the brim of his hat? I don't know. Anyways, like the shadow, and he looked very serious and solemn. He looked like, kind of indicating that he either knows who the man marked by flames is, and he has like a very serious expression because of like, oh, we have to go see that person. Or he doesn't know 100% who it is, but he has a good idea. And that sort of is just like, I hope it's not that person, but it probably is, you know? So that's a big clue on who's it going to be. So I was going through, as for who it could actually be, I was going through my comments for the review and seeing what everybody out there, who they think the man marked by flames is. And overwhelmingly, like I didn't count these, but like the number of times I saw a comment that had this person was way far and above any other theory on who it could be. Number one is going to be Sabo. everyone is like, Sabo, Sabo, it's Sabo. Sabo literally has a scar on his face caused by flames when he was a little kid. It's gotta be Sabo. And I think the reason why everyone is picking Sabo, not just because of the scar, but also because, yes, he is very prevalent right now. Hell, the first chapter we got after the break was Flame Emperor Entei, and it was all about Sabo. Sabo's, newspaper article, and then him being like a martyr essentially, and then like I guess not a martyr, because I guess to be a martyr you have to be dead, but like, can you be a martyr without dying? I don't know. I don't know anything about, popes and being canonized and whatnot. Anyway, but the point is, he's a hero. He's a national hero to most of the citizens of the world that are fighting the world government, and they're standing with the revolutionaries, and everything seems to be like, even he's more popular than Dragon right now, right? So it makes sense that like we had this big chapter about Sabo, and then 2 chapters later we learn about a man with a scar marked by flames or something, and I could see why everybody would immediately jump to Sabo, right? But I gotta be honest with you, I really don't think it's Sabo. Or rather, I think it might be sort of like Sabo as the obvious answer, like Oda, like, man marked by flames, and he had the chapter with Flame Emperor. Everyone and their mother is going to think Sabo. In fact, let me call my mother right now and ask her, just like, hi, Mom, how are you doing today? That is fabulous. I hope your cake for the county fair turns out great. Anyway, who do you think the man marked by flames is in chapter 1056 of One Piece? Yes, chapter 1056 of One Piece. You have to read the whole series? I'll wait. Did you read it all? Okay, great. Anyway, who do you think it is? Sabo. See? Everybody and their mother. I see. There you go. Wait. Say, love you, Mom. Okay, bye. All right, so there you go. You gotta, yeah, that's rude to just hang up on your mother. Okay, so, I don't think it is, though. I really don't, because I don't think Sabo has really any ability to read poneglyphs, for one thing. So I think that's out. Like, that'd be, I mean, I don't really see it. I mean, yeah, he was training under the revolutionaries and stuff. Maybe the Revolutionary Army has access to information that most people don't. But I don't think he would have learned about how to read the poneglyphs through that. Sabo, I mean, we could do a thing where we find out Sabo's last name. Maybe Sabo is like, he's another, like, he's a descendant or somebody of somebody that can hear the voices of all things. Wouldn't it be weird if Sabo was like a descendant of the Third Eye tribe? He's like 1/4 Third Eye or something. He just hasn't awakened the power yet, and it's like he's fighting or something, and it's just like, it's like the scene at the end of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and like the Third Eye just, and it just like rips out of him or something like that. It might be something like that. Now, as for him knowing the location of the 4th one, that's more likely to me, but that's not information I think just Sabo would know alone. The indication that Kid and Killer were really talking about was like, there's only one man that can help us now, and that's the man marked by flames. That person, wherever he is in the world, has the answers that we seek, and nobody else has it, okay? That was the implication I got from that scene. Maybe with the Revolutionary Army's, information network, and they're going to places in the world that are like, racked by warfare and everything, so they might have information that not everybody else knows about. We've also seen that the revolutionaries might, they're infiltrating Marijois, maybe they got information from there or something. However, it was implied that, like, this man marked by flames, like, Kid and Killer knew about this person for a while now. This wasn't something that they just learned about in Wano. This is a rumor that's been around on the Grand Line for probably months or maybe even years, you know what I mean? Like, Sabo and the rest of the revolutionaries just got back from Marijois. We don't even know where they're at right now, but they managed to escape with Kuma. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's something that they got the information just now. My point with this is, if the revolutionaries, if Sabo knows where the 4th Road Poneglyph is, he's not the only revolutionary that knows. Dragon would know, because he's the boss. Sabo's his second in command, so it wouldn't make any sense for, like, Sabo to have this information, but Dragon doesn't, or none of the other revolutionaries did. All the information that Sabo knows about the Poneglyphs is probably shared equally with Dragon, with Lindbergh, Morley, Karasu, Bellobetti, Ivankov, all of the commanders, plus their vice commanders like Inazuma, as well as, maybe Koala and Hack would know too. Like, so it wouldn't be like, hey, Killer, we need to decipher these Poneglyphs. We need to find the one man that has this information. Sabo! Or I guess we could find another member of the Revolutionary Armies. They would probably know too. It didn't seem like that. I know that's why you would jump to Sabo and also to tie Sabo back into the story. But Sabo's already going to be in the story, okay? With him or with him not being the man marked by flames, Sabo's still going to play a major critical role in this story no matter what. Okay, so don't worry about that. But that was the person far and above that showed up in the majority of the comments. The second person that showed up the most, and this one makes a lot more sense, is Aokiji, or Kuzan as he's known right now. This makes way more sense, okay? One thing is he's marked by flames in a quite literal way. He literally lost a leg to Akainu on their battle at Punk Hazard, right? He's also been, for the most part, MIA. You know, we saw him at Punk Hazard, but then he skipped out with his giant penguin buddy named Camel. The penguin's named Camel, so I'm just going to give you a minute to find the humor in that. Yeah, there you go. And so we don't know where he's at right now. We have no idea. He had a cameo in Film Z, but that was obviously non-canon, and that was already like 10 years ago already. So we haven't really seen much of Aokiji. We know he's allying with Blackbeard in some way, shape, or form. Maybe he's the 10th Titanic captain. But that lines up with kids saying, you know, we have no idea where he's at right now. We have no leads, implying that he's somebody marked by flames that travels around to avoid being detected. That kind of makes sense for Aokiji, if anything else, okay? So if we're just going to go with characters we've already met, there's one other character I think it's possible who it could be, and I mentioned him in the video, in the review. That was Doflamingo, but if it isn't Doflamingo, if it's another character that we know about, we've actually seen before in the story, I'd say the most likely choice would be Aokiji or Doflamingo, okay? It could just be a brand new character that Oda just might introduce now, and we'll get to that in the next option. But what else? Aokiji, being an admiral for years, he would have access to information that the majority of the world would not know. Maybe even before he left, he took some information or whatever. There was also that line he had to Smoker at Punk Hazard where he's like, you know, you'd be surprised, you know, not being a Marine, the stuff that you learn about the world. You know, it seems to imply he's been traveling, he's been learning a lot more. So maybe this rumor about the man marked by flames just started within the last year or so, or last year and a half, during the 2-year time skip. I think it was pretty shortly after the time skip started when Luffy and the Straw Hats began their training in their different locations. Aokiji and Akainu had their fight. I don't think they waited very long after the fight, after Marineford, to have their fight. Maybe only a couple of weeks after Marineford or a few months later. That's when they fought at Punk Hazard, and then Aokiji left. Okay, so he's probably been on his own for almost 2 years now. That's enough time for a rumor to get started. That's enough time for him to nurse his wounds and run around the Grand Line and learn some new stuff about the world. Okay, so there's this rumor that's been, let's say, going around for about a year now. Okay, so maybe something with Aokiji, and that would make more sense than Sabo, because Sabo's already going to be involved in this story no matter what. Like, he broke into Marijois, they exploded the sigil, the Celestial Dragons, they got Kuma, they escaped. You know, Sabo's already going to be relevant. I want to get Aokiji back in this story, okay? This would be a cool way to get him reintroduced, okay? So, honestly, like, even more so than Doflamingo or my other theories, I'm actually going with Kuzan as my #1 choice right now, okay? That just makes a lot of sense. Somebody else is a survivor from Ohara. I saw a lot of theories about this. So it makes sense. Like, you know, Ohara burned down in a Buster Call, and it seemed like most of the scientists, most of the scholars died while the Tree of Knowledge came down to protect their books and their knowledge. They tried to save as many as possible. They all died in the fire, except for Robin, who escaped. But, you know, there was a lot of scholars on Ohara. There were a lot of people there. I guess it's always possible somebody could have escaped somehow. And even if, you know what, I had an idea, it might not even be a situation where, like, somebody escaped on a boat. What if there was, like, a bunker hidden somewhere on Ohara? You know, not a huge one, but, like, way underneath the ground or something. There was, like, a hidden room or a hidden basement somewhere, right? And what if one of the scholars is like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to hide. Or maybe a few of them did, you know, maybe not just one dude, but this was 20 years ago, 22 years ago at this point, right? So let's say like 4 or 5 scholars like hid inside of this bunker, and then they survived the Buster Call, and they were hiding inside of this fallout shelter basically for a couple of weeks, and then they waited for everything to die down upstairs, and then they're just like, Okay, the government's gone. Let's get the hell out of here. And then they escaped, right? And then over the years, over the next 2 decades, it was, the government found out that there were a few other scholars from O'Hara, but they're going to keep it on the down low. They're not going to make it very obvious. Robin was well known to have escaped, I guess, so I guess that's the reason they had to put her up on the wanted poster and all that. But maybe it's like 5 years after O'Hara, they find out, like, holy shit, there's survivors of O'Hara. So they start, like, eliminating them, and they're just regular people. They don't have devil fruit powers. They don't know hockey. They're just, like, helpless. Robin at least had the skills to kind of survive. These other people probably didn't. So what if there's just one person left? There's just like one survivor from O'Hara that's just bouncing around the various islands, trying to avoid the world government, but also still trying to like stick it to them. They're like, oh, well, screw it. We're, everybody out there, the pirates want to find the One Piece, and like, I really hate the world government for burning down O'Hara. I don't even care if I'm helping the pirates. I don't even give a shit. If anybody wants to come to me and it's a pirate and they want to know how to read poneglyphs and they want me to give them the locations of Laugh-Tale, I'll do it. I don't even give a shit anymore. You know what I mean? It might be something like that, right? Very jaded individual that's like, pirate walks up, he's like, "Aye there, matey, I be Captain Polka Dotted Beard. I'm looking for the One Piece." Like, yeah, sure. You want the One Piece? Yeah, I found the 4th Road Poneglyph years ago. Here you go. Here's where it is. I'm like, Mary, no! Something like that, right? Like, I'd be okay with that. So, survivor from O'Hara, that's on the table. I mentioned Doflamingo. The idea with Doflamingo being the individual, Doflamingo's eye might have been scarred from the torture he suffered as a kid when they found out they were celestial dragons. I like to think that Doflamingo only has one eye. He has one eye that's kind of messed up, and he's just missing the other eye, and it's just all scar tissue right there, okay? Like it got gouged out by an angry townsperson or something, right? So if that's the case, then maybe he has another alias beyond just Joker, and so maybe that's the reason Kid does not know, he doesn't connect the dots that it is Doflamingo, but it's like, there's somebody out there that has the scar mark and knows about poneglyphs, but we don't know anything about them. We haven't heard any leads in forever, and that's because Doflamingo was taken and put in Impel Down level 6. So it's like they don't know it's Doflamingo yet, but that's why all the rumors dried up because he just disappeared, right? He went into level 6, right? So that would also be a way for Doflamingo to get back in the story. So both Aokiji and Doflamingo, they're named characters that we know a lot about in the story that we don't know what they've been doing for so long, okay? Well, we know Doflamingo's in prison, but he's in prison, reading newspapers, being chained up in level 6, right? If we want Doflamingo or Aokiji to get back in the series, I think this is the perfect vehicle to make that happen. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Also, Doflamingo being a celestial dragon or being raised as a celestial dragon, he even said he has information that the celestial dragons do not want to get out. Yeah, he might know how to read the poneglyphs. He might know where the 4th one is, or at least he might have heard a rumor, something that Goro say definitely don't want to get out. So we'll see where that goes. But yeah, I already mentioned members of the Third Eye Tribe. Maybe the Straw Hats will find. Maybe the next island they're going to go to is going to be an island where the Third Eye Tribe lives. And then they learn about that. And like Sanji mentions Pudding and everything. And there's like, oh, yes, Pudding. Yes, how is she doing? Oh, she's doing all right, I guess. My memory's kind of hazy of that, but I think she's doing all right. I think I said goodbye to her. Did I say goodbye to her? Man, I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, so it's like, oh, she's probably okay. So, and then the Third Eye Tribe, maybe they have the 4th Road Poneglyph. Maybe it was given to them by somebody. I like to think, because the 4th one was on Fishman Island, I like to think after Whitebeard took over Fishman Island as his territory, he knows how dangerous the Road Poneglyphs are, like in the wrong hands, how they could be dangerous. So I think Whitebeard was the one that moved it. I think Whitebeard had a talk with Neptune, and he was like, listen to me. There's going to be a lot of really strong pirates in this new era gunning for that Road Poneglyph, okay? Now, I'm Whitebeard. I'll protect your island, but I think it probably would be safer if we move that thing. And Neptune, obviously, like, that's a relic of their past, and that's a symbol of, like, Joy Boy's promise and everything. So Neptune was probably hesitant. But if it's Whitebeard coming to you, and he's a stand-up guy, and, Roger was a good friend of Neptune, maybe Neptune would have relented and be like, yeah, all right, I think it's probably a good idea to move that to a safe location. So maybe Whitebeard took it, and Whitebeard gave it to the man with the flames, scar, flame tattoo, or whatever. Or maybe Whitebeard gave it over to the Third Eye Tribe, or maybe kept it somewhere safe, somewhere in the world, somewhere where no one would find it, right? There was like a caretaker for it, though, like something like that. Finally, and I mentioned this in the review, was Scopper Gabon. Okay, and the only reason I bring that up is because Scopper, the last time we saw him, he didn't have any scars or any marks or tattoos, but there's a popular theory out there that right before Marineford, remember we had a scene where we cut to all the different sections of the world as they're reacting to the war beginning to happen. We cut to the South Blue and there's some people hanging out by like a food stall and they're just chatting about Whitebeard. Like, you think Whitebeard's actually going to attack Marineford? And they're like, I don't know. He hasn't done much in the recent years. Like, yes, but you can't remember the fact that Whitebeard is the dangerous sea dog as ever did sail the seven seas. Like they're just talking about him. Well, we cut to the east, and we see this dude. We see just a random old man herding sheep in the east, just chilling out in like a Roman toga or whatever, smoking a pipe. And he has very similar glasses to Scopper, so a lot of people are thinking that that's Scopper Gabon. Scopper, like, retired to the East Blue to be a sheep herder for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? Like, that's that. And so, hey, I mean, he's undercover, if nothing else, and he has the tattoos on his head now, which kind of look like flames. I mean, you could look at them like that, certainly. So, yeah, the only thing there is you'd have to go back to the east, but maybe he travels. Maybe staying in the east at that moment, but that was 2 years ago, so now he might be somewhere else in the world that he could be, found in the new world, right? Who knows? Or maybe he's like, I think my knowledge might be necessary here. He would definitely at least, I don't know if Scopper, I don't know if he would like Odin told them, like, this is what the Road Poneglyphs say, and then Scopper would have remembered that, but he might have an etching of the fourth one. Maybe he was like, oh, the fourth Road Poneglyph was hidden away in a place, I don't know where it is, but I do have the etching, and I've been holding on to this for years, maybe something like that. Who knows? But I'm going to say, going in with most likely to least likely, I'm going to go with Kuzan Aokiji #1 for my pick, Doflamingo #2, Ohara Survivor #3, Member of the Third Eye Tribe #4, Scopper Gabon #5, and Sabo is 6th. I really, out of all the people we discussed, I really think Scopper is going to be the lowest down on this list. I really don't think it's Sabo at all. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, everybody, and now we can move on to some Komodo dragon facts. Oh, yeah. All right, so last time I mentioned that Komodo dragons are native to Indonesia on the island of Komodo. There's the origin of that. But turns out they actually weren't always in Indonesia. Turns out that just like most giant venomous creatures on this planet that'll kill you in less than 5 seconds if you get bit or stung, they originate from Australia. You can't escape! You can't escape the land down under! Yeah, okay. So anyway, about 900,000 years ago, the implication was, part of Indonesia began to break off, I guess, from the island of Australia, and so that's how the Komodo dragons that originated in Australia ended up in Indonesia, okay, through like continental drifts and islands moving and all that kind of jazz, right? But there was still a population of Komodo dragons in Australia, right? Up until about 50,000 years ago. So 900,000 years ago, they ended up in Indonesia. They separated. 50,000 years ago, the Komodo dragon population in Australia itself seemed to just disappear. There's fossil records of them there, but beyond that, we just don't know what happened to them. But 50,000 years ago, fun fact, is also coincidentally right around the time that human beings began to arrive in Australia. The indigenous population that arrived there. So now I like to think that these human beings, the first humans to reach Australia, get there, and they see these giant fucking lizards roaming around the countryside, and this kicks off a massive war between the indigenous people of Australia, who would later become the Aborigines, versus Komodo dragons, right? Like, the first thing they did when they got to the island is like, all right, we need to kill the shit out of all of these things if we want to live here, you know what I mean? Which means, do you know what this means, ladies and gentlemen? This means that the timeline of Australia goes, like, modern people living in Australia right now, and then going further back, you have the indigenous population, the Aborigines living in Australia. And then before the indigenous people arrived, then you had a land ruled by dragons. Australia just keeps getting more badass, but also simultaneously more terrifying the more I learn about it. What's the most terrifying fact about Australia that I haven't covered yet? People from Australia, let me know, please. Your continent is fascinating to me. All right. Well, anyway, there's the Komodo dragon fact, where the great dragon wars 50,000 years ago were fought. And the humans, many of them died, but they managed to push back the dragon scourge. Bye.